and thanks once again. I guess we could just go forward with Keith's discussion about the CASIF implementation project status, if that's where we're at.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff.
Certainly.
As you know, last April, not this previous, but back in 2020, we submitted our first draft of the CASIF implementation project plan for Mendocino County. A month later, since it was extended, we revised that and resubmitted. That pretty much kind of killed the pot basically for Mendocino County with the CPUC. So we were advised by the CPUC to revise it, and we ended up resubmitting it for a third time, and reason being because of the pot of money that was available. So basically we narrowed it down, revised it to try to encompass more tribal areas that were underserved or non-served, and then submitted it once again at the cost of roughly 150 million. At this juncture, we're still waiting to hear back from the CPUC whether or not this will be rejected or accepted. But I think from the CPUC side, they are pending RDOF funding and additional, obviously we have additional funding sources that are coming out at this time. We did go through with some of the engineering staff, and we've got potential shovel-ready projects for Project 2 and Project 3 at this juncture. And we also have had several conversations with the recent RDOF recipients within Mendocino County that have been awarded, but nothing is finalized until the long forms are completed. And that goes for Hunter Communication as well, because we've had a similar award in Oregon and one further northern area of Northern California with the Hoopa tribe. So until those are fully invested and accepted, there's nothing more that I think the CPUC is going to do until RDOF is fully funded and awarded after the long forms have been finalized. And that should be coming within the next month or two. Outside of that, like I said, we have had several conversations with the other RDOF recipients within the area, within Mendocino County, to identify and potentially help their infrastructure plans with backhaul, because they can't do anything without having fiber to towers. And at this juncture, they have not identified where these tower structures will be permitted or submitted to at this point. But we do have identified the potential areas for backhaul and tying back into backhaul subpoints. So that said, I have been advised by legal counsel that since there are further awards being administered at different levels where Jeff has pointed out, one would be an example of the NTIA. They have just now released their NOFO within 2 weeks ago. So we are looking through that right now and looking at the potential to target just tribal within Mendocino County and other counties within the recent area. So that's about all I have for an update. I know it's short, it's brief, but until further clarification comes from the CPUC with the additional federal funds, we feel that that's going to probably help the cause for project number 1 to move forward.
Thank you, Keith. So on the previous slide, we had indicated that the planning team, the North Bay North Coast Broadband Consortium's Mendocino County planning team, which consists of Keith, Tom, Calvin, myself, and Mitch Drake, have been deliberating strategies with regard to the applications for projects 2 and 3. And the consensus of that group would be to submit project 2 as a CASIF grant by September. And that is under consideration and on the table. There's work to be done, but not a whole lot of work to be done to finalize that grant application. And so it should be noted that we're deliberately considering how to move forward, knowing that there are multiple grant opportunities. Still, it makes sense to apply for the CASIF grant just so that there is on record the additional households and the larger footprint for Mendocino County, so that federal funds might become available. So we know what the structure of a CASIF application is. We don't necessarily know what the structure of some unknown grant opportunities are. Still, since we have the bulk of the work done for both projects 2 and 3, we feel that in due time we should make forward progress. And so we'll open that up for discussion among the group. Calvin, while you still have time, you want to chime in on that bit?
Which bit in particular? Sorry.
Just the timing of applications and what the advantage is to submitting project 2, even if we eventually get funding from a different source. Does that seem like a sound strategy? I mean, I think we've discussed.
I think we have just discussed like a shotgun approach wherever it is applicable. I mean, as far as we have the projects ready. We've submitted one with Hunter, and then the remaining, depending on the outcome of this grant, moving forward, wherever there are other opportunities where these projects apply, whether it's a federal grant or through the new state funding that's developing. But right now, there's a lot of funding that is still developing, so it's a little unclear where these projects could apply. But yeah, so I think shotgun approach, but waiting, but crossing our fingers for the ones that we've already submitted.
Very good, thank you. And I think that we should take the opportunity to thank Keith and Hunter Communication for being the applicant for Mendocino County in these projects. And we need a partner, and we have been deliberating the various models of partnership for receiving grants. And so it's all part of the ongoing discussion about how we can properly build out Mendocino County. Anyone else have any comments on this topic? I see Mike Nichols has his hand up.
Thank you very much. I just have one quick question. Is an application for phase 2 contingent upon the acceptance of phase 1, or can they operate independently, be applied for independently without any contingencies?
I think that the application time clock is open, and I mean, it has a finite date, but we can apply even though they have delayed decision with regard to project 1. So project 1, we won't know until the very end of this year, but it shouldn't inhibit us from pursuing the additional funds. And I think that just having the application on record to show that we are shovel ready with 2 or all 3 of our projects has advantages.
That's what I suspected. Thank you.
Certainly. Does anyone else have comments
Jeff,
or questions?
If you don't mind, just getting back to the RDOF piece of this, you know, if the RDOF winner is accepted for the area, and then we start working with them, that could tentatively help different segments of Project 2. It could help segments of Project 1 moving forward. So a collaboration or a consortium type of approach has worked very successfully in the past with other projects that I've been engaged with, especially in Oregon. So it's potential that, you know, if we pull RDOF and we pull the NOFO together with tribal opportunities, that it could help reduce some of the CASF costs moving forward on this, and to try to secure the rest of the CASF Project 1 costs. So we have to look at all variables on this to try to, you know, keep it alive.
Thank you, Keith. Anything else on this subject? Hearing none.